Structure and concept of the study course. The bachelor's degree course in business administration (BA) is constructed according to modular principles and has the following characteristic: relatively, relatively identical structure of the course scripts, coordinated contents, and thus no unnecessary repetitions, generally no overlapping of contents. Individual course script has the following section: Introduction course script being with the classification of the topic in the modular structure of distance learning. Subsequently, the position of the topic covered the context of business administration will be shown and the learning objectives of course script will be presented. Core topic of the course script. The second chapter of the course script deals with the essential study content in each case. Models are the circular contents of your distance learning course. Examples of these are fundamentals accounting, which, depending on the extent, are communicated via several course scripts corresponding to your academic process. The topics of course script are becoming increasingly more specific. The course of study is structured like a tree that branches out more and more. This generally ensures that you know which higher level topic area you are in. DC that capital EQ equity EBV Petroleum Stock Filling Association Germany Economics EU European Union e.g. for example given ECG Economic Sciences fee following if further following FIFI HGB German Commercial Code Handels Gesetzbuch this means Massachusetts of Technology, page. Introduction to the Business Administration degree course. Introduction to the degree course. Self-organized and individual learning. Fundamentals of Business Administration and Economics. Fundamentals 1. Mathematics, Microeconomics. Example of gradual deepening of learning contents. Outlook on the following course script. This chapter provides a summary of the more detailed topics that follow this model. This way you will know what is coming up the following course script and how the circular content is further subdivided into sections. Exercise problems, while the question in chapter 2 will serve to reflect on your learning. The exercise in this chapter will help you to review and deepen the most important content. Appendix. In the appendix you will find a glossary of essential technical terms. The annotated bibliography is intended to provide you with information for a specialist book that will help to further explore the topics. The literature employed in the course script is also part of the 5th chapter, the course script, and with solution notes for the task given chapter 4. Categorization of course script with the Business Administration Distance Learning degree course. The course script fundamentals of business administration and economics as the starting point for your distance learning course in business administration is followed by in-depth modules in the following 3 areas: business administration in the search of phenomena and context. Business administration focus on a single company. The overwhelming number of modules will deal with problems in this area. Economics, the subdiscipline of economic science, focuses primarily on macroeconomic context. It is needed for the study of business administration to understand economic interrelationship with national economies and the world economy. Supporting an adjacent field of science knowledge in these areas in prerequisite for working on business administration tasks and will support the contents of the business administration models in meaningful way. Fundamentals of business administration in economics, economics administration, economics supporting and adjustment file science, files of economic science studies. Structure and concept of this course script. The main purpose of this course script is to clarify basic concepts that play a role in both economics and business administration and which will be referred to repeatedly in future course of studies. After the introduction, a brief historical summary and the classification of business administration and the science which you in the second chapter subsequently caters for business administration and economics are explained. The third chapter of the course script introduces the three areas of our business administration degree program. The two subdisciplines, business administration and economics, and supporting and adjacent sciences. You can reflect on the contents you have worked though in the third chapter. Here you will be asked a question for your self-monitoring and will be given a case study for processing. Learning objectives of the course script. Knowing the similarities and differences between the two subdisciplines of business administration and economics. Be able to define business administration as an interdisciplinary science. Know and illustrate the connection between one's needs and demand. Explain similarities and differences between the terms productivity, turnover, profitability, and return on investment. Correct use of terms such as company, business, enterprise. Know the different representation of production factors in the context of business administration and economics and explain the relation for the deviation. Explain differences between the primary and supporting functions of a company. Explain the difference between supporting function and holistic management task. Essential contents of economic science. Development and classification, economic science, historical outline. Economic science are comparatively young discipline, the beginning of which can be dated back to the 17th and 18th centuries, a period in which the nation-states developed in Europe. The first macroeconomic examination of an economy falls exactly into this period in the Tableau économique by Cunezy in the form of the economic cycle. In 1776, Adam Smith published his work Wealth of Nations, in which he elaborated on the importance of the market and thus laid The foundation for the market economy systems a description of the division of labor based on the production of needless became virtually legendary. The greatest improvements in productive powers of labor and the greater part of the skill, dexterity, and judgment which with it is anywhere directed or applied seem to have been the effects of the division of labor. To take an example, therefore, from every trifling manufacture, but one in which the division of labor has been very often taken notice of the trade of the pin maker, a workman not dedicated to this business which division of labor has rendered a distinct trade nor acquainted with the use of the machinery employed in it to the invention of which the same division of labor has probably given occasion, calls scarce perhaps with that utmost industry make one in a and certainly could not make 20, but in the way in which this business is now carried on, not only wall work a peculiar trade, but it is divided into a number of branches of which the greater part are likewise peculiar trades, and the man draws out the wire, another straightens it, a third cuts, a fourth points, a fifth brings it at the top for receiving the heat. To make the heat requires two or three distinct operations, but to put it on is a peculiar business. To whiten the pins is another. It is even a trade by itself to put them into the paper, and important business of making a pin in this manner. They formed by distinct hand, though in others the same man will something perform or two. Three of them I have seen a small manufactory of this kind where 10 men only were employed and where some of them consequently performed two or three distinct operations, but though they were very poor and therefore but indifferently accommodated with the necessary machinery, they could, when they exerted themselves, make among them about 12 pounds of tin in a day. There are in pounds upward of 4,000 pins of a middling size. Those 10 persons therefore could make up among them upward of 48,000 pins in a day, each person therefore making a 100 pins in a day. But if they had grew separately and independently, and without of them having been educated to his peculiar business, this certainly could not each of have made 20, perhaps not one in a pin in a day. What is certainly not the 240, perhaps not the 4,800 part of what they are at present capable of performing in consequence of a proper division and combination of their different operations. In every other art and manufacture, the effects of the division of labor are similar to what they are in this very trifling one, though in many of them in the labor can neither be so much subdivided nor reduced to degree as simplicity of operation. The division of labor, however, so far as it can be introduced, occasion it in every art and proper table proporti- porti- proportional increase on the productive powers of labor. The separation of different trades and employment from one another seems to have taken place in consequence of this, and advantage this separation to is generally carried further in those countries which enjoy the highest degree of industry and improvement. In the 19th and 12th century, 20th century, names such as Keynes, Ricardo, Malthus, John Stuart Mill, or Alan Marx were associated with explanation and models that have lost none of their validity to this day. For example, Marx describes the trend towards concentration in free market economies. This means that companies are merging into ever larger complexes. The site has been reflected in the legal regulation of many market economies and the regulation of European Union, Germany, and corresponding regulation can be found in the so-called antitrust law. Cartel legislation. It subjects mergers of companies the control of the Federal Cartel Office, Bundeskartellamt. The approach to compensate for a stagnating or declining economy by increasing government spending is based on kindness. Ricardo's theorem of comparative cost advantage laid the foundation the organization of international free tasks that can be assigned to the file business administration can already be found in the years 3000 and 2800 BC. It has been proven that not only the first accounting document but also the interest payment for the lending of monetary goods originated from this period. The first complete presentation of the so-called double entry counting is by Luca Pacioli K 1445 and 1514. This has not changed in its main features until today and appeared well before the time of Ricardo, Keynes, or Marx, namely already in 1494, only 2 years after Columbus discovered the New World. Luca Pacioli spread the double entry bookkeeping and he considered Italian monk to be a plagiarist. Algebra of the Capital by Wolfgang Hoffmann. John Wolfgang von Goethe became enthusiastic. That is one of the most beautiful inventions of the human mind In William Leicester, he led the brother-in-law of the businessman Vermeer say every good steward should introduce it into his economy. Today, the most beautiful invention is more likely to be considered profane double-entry bookkeeping. Its inventor in Luca de Burgess Santi Sepulcro, son of Bartholomeus, surnamed Pacioli or Paculio, born in 1445 in Borgia San Spelcro, a market town in the upper valley of the Tiber, which later became a bishopric in Roma died in Roma in 1514, where Papa Leo X had appointed him professor at the Sapienza. Palicola's profane invention is regarded by many as the basis economist process the German economist Werner Sombart. Werner Sombart, 1863 and 1941 wrote double entry accounting is based on the same spirit as Galileo's, and Newton's systems like the teaching of modern physics and chemistry even more. You can think capitalism with double entry bookkeeping. Walter Ebukin, a pioneer of the social market economy, attributed the demise of Hanseatic Sufis in the 16th century, for example, to the fact that Hanseatic merchants had failed to introduce double-entry accounting, and what is remarkable is that while the Hanseatic League went bankrupt, the Augsburg merchants' property realty came to the fore when double-entry bookkeeping was introduced. Only 2 years ago, Heinz, the head of German Federal Railway and trained entrepreneur, said one could say that socialism has failed because it overruled double-entry bookkeeping, which was invented by an Italian monk in 1950. Bernard Bellinger, a professor of business administration, said a little more soberly that Paculi's importance lay above in the fact that, unlike the usual accounts of his time, he separated the private household of the businessman from his business operation and made the latter independent in accounting terms. The result of this process was the capitalist enterprise. At the beginning of the 16th century, it was still a long way to modern capitalism, but Pacioli certainly laid down in principle with impressive simplicity. The businessman only has to compare income and expenditure, consider both sides as rational as possible, and can thus calculate profit. Capitalism is enough. With Palacola's Tractatus 11 Practicoloris Campitis et Scripturis, part of his main work, Summa de Arithmetica Geometria Proportioni et Proportionella, publishes 104 1494 and not 1495 as Durkheim's. The life of the Italian monk Luca Pacioli has been known for as long as authorship of his works is controversial. Only is probable the first printed representation of the double-entry bookkeeping Kusama is undoubtedly from him. Pacioli was the mathematician of high rank, work, intellectual teacher and guest in Rome. At the court of Perugia, Florence, and Milan, he taught as a professor at the most important universities of Italy and was friends with Leonardo da Vinci. Is illustrated Pacioli's important mathematical writing. Leonardo's letter drawing for the work of Pacioli are among most beautiful and noble solution to the problem. The many art historian Richard Friedrich Friedenthal believes to give uniform to the writing with compass and ruler, though Pacioli. Leonardo was also left proportional of human body, and it is measurable in mathematical order of magnitude. Except for the Summa, there is no proof that Pacioli really invented double-entry bookkeeping. A contemporary of the mathematician Giorgio Vasari, the first serious art historian of a modern era, accused Pacioli even of plagiarism. The Franciscan had appropriated the work of his teacher, the painter and mathematician Piero della Francesca, after his death, and published it as done. Irrespective of whether and from when Pacioli has borrowed for the birth of capitalism, the Summa contains most systematic representation of accounting to date. For more than half a century it was one of the most widely mathematical works in Italy. This is mainly due to the simple lack of the people that Pacioli used it in the Asian ladder to divina proportion. He writes, made the matter vernacular, not offense, for I will bring all the more benefit the greater the number of readers will be, especially since this is not eloquence but acumen. He was vain too. Pacioli was the child of a time stormy change. The age of reason had begun after darkness and mysticism of the Middle Ages. The natural sciences began to free themselves from theological precepts. Also applies mathematics, which play a central role in Pacioli's major work. Summa, beings with arithmetic and algebra, followed
by its application, commercial practice, and accounting. The following topics are going to mention and weight in the end of turns to beginning pure and applied mathematics. However, the bookkeeping section contains everything that is still essential for every businessman today: journal, ledger, account statement, cancellation and balance sheets, correspondence register. It was all nothing new back in 1494. Business administration has existed 2,000 years. Recipes for successful trading for merchants are now from antiquity. Accounting has developed continuous in the different cultures of modern Mediterranean. The general ledger of the Italian company Averedo de Medici, a company from 1395, 100 years before publication of Facilis Summa, reveals all the essential features of the double entry bookkeeping. What were Facilis' accomplishments? Bernhard Bellinger sums them up by sounds